What's going on, CDL fans? Today I'm bringing you my CDL Champs 2022 predictions. Champs is coming up it's coming up pretty soon, in a couple days, and I mean, I'm super excited to see how it's going to all go down. This year has been pretty crazy. Vanguard being such an inconsistent game for pretty much every single team in the league. It's going to be really interesting to see who wins this event, and also being as we've had a different winner every single event so far. Will we have a different winner this time around, or will someone be able to get a second win on the year? Predictions look like they're gonna be really hard for this Champs, probably the hardest we've ever seen in COD history, just due to the game of Vanguard and how we've seen the season go down. So let's hop right into our first prediction. Kicking it off, we have Atlanta FaZe versus New York Subliners. It's not the first game of the day, but it's the first one on the bracket, so I'm just gonna do this one first. I think FaZe come out strong at this event. I think they take this 3-2. If this was at Major 4, I would have said obviously like the Subliners, but based on what we've seen, the Subliners have looked really good, but I think FaZe are coming out with a new set of motivation, a new standard we're going to be seeing out of FaZe here to really kind of take it to us for Champs, because they haven't won an event, but they've pretty much been second almost all year long, second and 1/3 place. So I think FaZe is going to be on a new level. Then we have the London Royal Ravens versus the Seattle Surge. Winner gets to play Atlanta FaZe. This series I think is really interesting because London is really bad at control and Surge is really good at control over the course of the year. And then Surge is okay at the other two game modes, and London's pretty good at the other two. So I think this is a pretty fair series, control only being one of obviously the 5 maps in a series. But Surge pretty much bans Gavutu the most often at any map, and London never bans Gavutu. So what I'm expecting here, Surge will obviously ban one of London's favorite maps, being Gavutu, and I think Surge end up taking this in a 3-2 as well, similar to the last series, another game 5. I think this one's really interesting and go either way. These are two teams that both disappoint pretty much on LAN, except for the one major at Surge obviously won, but both of these teams have been relatively disappointing on LAN this season compared to what we see online. And I kind of think Surge have just shown to be stronger, plus they won a major, so I'm gonna go Seattle Surge. Make sure to subscribe and like the video as well if you enjoy CDL content. I'm going to be doing a bunch of stuff throughout the off season, as well as posting stuff for the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 that's going to be coming out later this year. Then we have OpTic versus Toronto Ultra. Unfortunately for this series, I don't see it being too much of a contest. OpTic has been a much better team all around the entire year in every game mode over Ultra. Ultra's obviously been pretty disappointing, and I think they were the team I predicted in the beginning of the year in one of my videos to win COD Champs, so we're going to see how that ends up playing out. But I'm going to go OpTic 3-1. I would go 3-0, but OpTic has looked pretty poor in control, even though it used to be their best game mode, and Ultra has been decent in control all year long, so I'm going to give Ultra the win on that map 3, but I do think OpTic ends up taking this pretty convincingly. They could even 3-0 this. I just think this isn't a good matchup for Toronto. We have LA Thieves versus Boston Breach. The Thieves obviously just won Major 4, looking really good. A lot of people have been saying they've been looking really good in scrims leading up to COD Champs. I think this is going to be a really good series because this is two teams that have been solid all year long and have definitely been battling in the standings. I'm going LA Thieves though. I see this going 3-1. I could see Boston taking a map, but I do think LA looked really strong in Major 4, and based on what I've been hearing from their scrims online, they're apparently looking really good. Then that brings us down to the elimination rounds. This is going to be pretty crazy. I mean, the format isn't ideal, I think, for COD Champs, but it definitely makes it interesting, and it makes it so, I mean, on Friday, which is only the second day of the event, I believe, on Friday, the second day of the event, we're already gonna have people going home. So I do think this is gonna be really interesting. We're gonna have New York versus London in my first elimination round. I do think New York take this. I'm gonna go 3-1. I think New York is a better team currently. London was obviously a lot better at the beginning of the year, but I do think New York takes this and sends London home top 8 at COD Champs. Or you would have said at the beginning of the year that I would have had New York beating London at COD Champs and sending them home. I would have thought you were crazy, because at the beginning of the year, London was top 3 and New York was the worst team in the league. So definitely interesting turnaround, and you can really see how roster changes can help a team. Then we come down to the next elimination round matchup, which is going to be Toronto Ultra versus Boston Breach. This one's tough because I think both of these teams are solid. I think they both had their struggles this year, and they've also both looked pretty good. I'm going to go Toronto just because I feel like Toronto has that clutch factor in them. I think they're the kind of team that when it really matters most, they can clutch up, and we've seen it throughout this year. We saw it all of last year. That teamwork is unmatched out of the Ultra boys. And I do see them being Boston Breach 3-2 in a game 5. I think think Toronto definitely doesn't want to go out top 8, and unfortunately for Boston, their first year in the CDL, I do think they will fall with a top 7-8 finish. Then we are back up to winners round 2, where we see one of the best matchups we've had all year long, FaZe versus Surge. Surge has had FaZe's number pretty much all year long, but based on what we've been seeing recently, I'm gonna have to go Atlanta FaZe here. I'm gonna go 3-1. I think Surge has been pretty inconsistent on land, like I said earlier. FaZe has obviously been the most consistent team in the most inconsistent game we've pretty much seen to date when it comes to Call of Duty, especially during the CDL, you know, extent of the CDL franchising. So I do see FaZe winning this. Surge could win, don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna go FaZe, moving on to the winners final. Then we have probably one of the best matchups of the entire event. We're gonna see OpTic Texas versus LA Thieves. I think this is gonna be probably one of the best matchups we see. Obviously, you know, you got Hex versus Nadeshot. You know, you got the OG OpTic in Nadeshot with the 100 Thieves going up against the new OpTic. This is gonna pull a ton of viewers. I think this is gonna be a really good matchup, but I'm going LA Thieves here. I think they take this 3-1. I just think OpTic hasn't looked like they once did, and I don't know if they really have what it takes to beat this current LA Thieves team with the form they've been in. Then we move on down to elimination round 2, OpTic Texas versus New York Subliners. Oh boy, this is interesting. This series really could go either way. The inner OpTic fan in me, obviously I've been following OpTic for as long as just about everybody else who got into Call of Duty back in the OG days. Of course, everyone's an OpTic fan at heart in some way, shape, or form. You know, I love Crim, I love Hydra. I've been really loving what Kismet and Paulax are doing this year, but I'm gonna give it to OpTic. I just think, you know, Scump has turned into a different level every single year at COD Champs, except for like that 1 year in World War II. Crim has been good at Champs as well throughout his entire career, but the last couple years has had under 1 KDs. Obviously, he's not the star on his team anymore, but I do think OpTic are going to take this one, and I'm going to give it to them in a 3-1. Then we have Toronto Ultra versus Seattle Surge. Once again, I'm going to go Ultra. I think the Ultra can take this one in a 3-2. I think this is another one of those. This is one of those runs in lower bracket that Ultra likes to pull off, where, you know, they win the searches and maybe they take out that 2-3-5 type of win that we saw almost all year last year, and we have seen somewhat this year. I think Ultra take down Surge, and I think Subliners and Surge are the next 2 teams that get eliminated from the bracket. Now that we take our elimination round 3 matchup, this one I think could be pretty good. Rematch of what we saw from the, you know, first round up here in winners round 1. I think similar result. I think OpTic take this to them. I think Ultra probably get a map again. They're going to be kind of riding high off of some of their wins, but I think OpTic are the better team, and I think we see OpTic move into top 3 at COD Champs. In our winners final, we see Atlanta FaZe versus LA Thieves. Definitely, you know, a great matchup. One of the ones that we saw at the previous major. Thieves did beat them twice, I believe, at the previous major, right? Yeah, they beat them twice. So just for that fact, I'm gonna go Thieves. I'm gonna go 3-2. I think, you know, I think FaZe is probably the better search and destroy team, at least on the year, but I'm gonna go Thieves 3-2, moving into the grand final at COD Champs and sending FaZe down to play OpTic for the last spot in the finals. I think both of these teams have had great years. I think OpTic FaZe has been a great matchup the entire year, and OpTic has pretty much had FaZe's number. I think they're like 5-1 against them on the year. They've only lost to them once, and that was at the previous major, I believe. Either way, I'm gonna go FaZe. I just think OpTic hasn't looked the same. FaZe has been consistent all year long. Obviously, FaZe didn't even get second last event. They only got third, and OpTic got 4th. But I do think this comes down to the wire, and I think FaZe take it in a game 5, thrilling game 5, maybe around 11. You know, something crazy to send us into a rematch of the Major 4 finals with LA Thieves versus Atlanta FaZe. And for the grand final prediction for the COD Champs, will FaZe go back-to-back, or will Thieves get their first COD Champs victory, finally getting Kenny and Octane a ring? Yeah, I am. If you can see my shirt, I'm thinking Thieves, baby. I'm thinking Thieves. I think they peaked at the right time this year. I think they really showed, you know, who they are. Also, I just realized I said this is a rematch. The final for Major 4. It's not. They played Subliners. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm thinking Thieves. I'm thinking this goes to a game 9. I'm thinking in round 10, not round 11. You know, I think we're gonna see a very, very good final. Probably the best finals we have seen, like grand finals we have seen, definitely at COD Champs since the CDL franchising. I think this is gonna be a really amazing event, and I do have the LA Thieves taking it against Atlanta FaZe in the championships. I will submit my predictions in front of you all, so you see I cannot change them. And there we go. LA Thieves versus Atlanta FaZe. Thieves take it 5-4 in the finals. That's what I've got. Let me know what you've got down below in the comments. Who do you have facing off in the finals? Who do you have winning? What's your top 3 looking like? Let me know everything down below in the comments. I really want to see what you all have to say. And with that being said, subscribe for more CDL and Call of Duty related content, and I'll see you on the next one.